In one of the previous YouTube shorts on my channel, we discussed how a Sabian from Haran, known to modern day as Turkey, became an absolute visionary in the fields of science, mathematics, and occultism. This visionary in question was Thābit Ibn Qurra. Thābit Ibn Qurra, known in Latin as Thebit, was a polymath and occultist whose works changed the way we view science, math, and occultism to this day. His two most notable influences were the Gayat al-Hakim, the Picatrix, and the 3 books of occult philosophy by Agrippa. These two very notable Hermetic works quote Thābit Ibn Qurra word for word, bar for bar, in some of their talismanic tutorials. So, what are we going to be doing today, or what are we going to be doing, I should say, in response to Thābit Ibn Qurra's work? So, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be providing a documentary in tribute to him, giving a modern outlook, a modern take, and a modern framework of 2 of Thābit Ibn Qurra's most notable works. The first work of his being his contribution to the number theory spectrum, and where he created a type of spectrum of numbers called Thabit Numbers. More on that later. Second of all, he also contributed to the occult field with this very infamous grimoire known as the Imaginibus. The Imaginibus, or in Latin known as On Images, was a very powerful talismanic grimoire that focuses on talismans, sigils, images, and natal charts. At least on a surface level, that's what it is. In today's video and in today's documentary, I will be, like I said, showing how there's more than what meets the eye to these 2 notable works, and there's more that can be done in terms of what Thābit Ibn Qurra did. As somebody who proclaims to be his successor, I want to do more than what he originally claimed to do. So, without further ado, the Ikhwan Dahab is proud to present Thābit's Transcendent Tapestry, Science, Secrets, and Starlight. We hope to, in this documentary, provide to you some great and abundant information regarding one of the greatest Hermetic authors of all time, Thābit Ibn Qurra, my self-proclaimed predecessor. Let's get started. So, starting off with the small first segment that we're going to be doing, the outlook and the modern take on Thabit numbers. So, you're probably wondering, you're probably asking, what are Thabit numbers? Well, Thabit numbers are this. So, Thabit numbers, also known as 321 numbers, are a mathematical function that was obviously founded by Thābit Ibn Qurra himself. His mathematical function consists of a specific equation that consists of 3 times 2 to the power of a non-negative integer subtracted by 1. So this type of equation creates an entire infinite spectrum of numbers that is being discovered and being looked at to this day. So what are we going to be doing today in relation to Thabit numbers? Well, today what we're going to be doing in relation to Thabit numbers is we're going to be running Thabit numbers through an artificial intelligence program and using it to outsource how we can use it for computer science and graphing purposes. So yeah, we're going to be basically putting Thabit numbers into a computer science framework. Let's get started. So this is what I was able to outsource using Perplexity AI on the concept of Thabit numbers. Off the bat, I asked, are you familiar with the number theory concept, Thabit numbers? It was, to my surprise, actually able to say yes, it is familiar with Thabit numbers, a fascinating concept in number theory. Thabit numbers, also known as 321 numbers or Thābit Ibn Qurra numbers, are a sequence of integers with interesting properties and historical significance. So if you guys would like access to this entire conversation, I'm going to give you guys like a basic summarization, a basic curation of this conversation I had. But if you guys are interested in seeing the full conversation, the link for the conversation on publicly will be in the description below, and it will also be in the community tabs, the community section on my YouTube channel. So if you guys would like to see the full conversation of the Thabit numbers, then just be sure to let me know, and I will provide you guys the links. But Perplexity was able to give me the definitions and properties of a Thabit number, which is obviously, like I said, 3 times 2 to the power of a non-negative integer subtracted by 1. And it was able to give me key properties like its binary representation, the fact that some Thabit numbers are prime numbers. It was able to give me a generalization of the Thabit numbers, some historical significance of it too. Then it was even able to give me a connection to amicable numbers. So it says that the Thābit Ibn Qurra theorem provides a method for discovering amicable numbers. And it was even able to give me an entire proof, like an entire equation proving that the Thābit numbers are able to outsource prime and amicable numbers. Conjectures and open problems. It is conjectured for every integer b greater than 2 there are infinitely many Thabit primes as the first kind of base b. As of October 2023, there were 68 known prime Thabit numbers. The largest known Thabit number that is a prime corresponds to the index 2,312,734. Thabit numbers continue to be an area of interest in number theory, with ongoing research into their properties and relationships to other mathematical concepts. So this is the meat and potatoes of why I decided to run this program and run this number concept through Perplexity. I was able to ask it, what type of computer language or science programming do you think one could do with the perimeters of a Thabit number? It gave me a lot of different answers on what it can do in response to what type of computer science or language they can do with a Thabit number. First of all, it told me about number theory algorithms. So the Thabit number is defined as 3, like I said, 3 times 2 to the power of a non-negative integer subtracted by 1 can be used in number theory algorithms. It could be used in prime number generation, so it could be used to generate prime numbers. It can be used to outsource and search amicable numbers. And it even has binary representation and recursive algorithms. Finally, it was able to give me 3 more things. Cryptography, which falls under key generation and hash functions. And also, it was able to give me educational programming and high precision arithmetic. The educational programming it was able to give me was sequence generation, primality testing, and then the high precision arithmetic it was giving me was arbitrary precision arithmetic and performance benchmarking. So this is really where the gist of the breakdown comes into play. I was asking Perplexity for the most part, could you give me some codes that you can run in some computer languages that incorporate Thabit numbers? And go figure, it gave me some computer codes. It gave me a code. It gave me some computer codes that can actually generate and produce Thabit numbers on its own volition. The 3 languages it gave me were Python, C++, and JavaScript. And in this video, we will be actually testing out these procedures and seeing if it works within the code. So here's a Python function to generate Thabit numbers. Right here, which I will be adding, which I will be streaming and showing to you guys later. Then it showed me C++. Then it showed me JavaScript. And then I was able to ask it, how do I implement a Thabit number generator in PHP? Then it proceeded to give me a function and a procedure using PHP. Then, because we were able to, in the previous conversation, talk about how Thabit numbers could outsource prime numbers and amicable numbers, I was able to ask it, I proceeded to ask it, could you also make a program that generates Thabit primes and or Thabit amicables? And what do you know? It gave me a Python, JavaScript, and C++ code that was able to generate Thabit primes and Thabit amicable numbers. So I won't be doing this in the video. However, if you guys would like to see more expounding and more breaking down of the computer codes that was implemented with Thābit Ibn Qurra's number theory, then I highly suggest that you share the video, like, comment, and subscribe, because it would incentivize me to show more content and more information that pertains to Thabit numbers. So yeah, this is very interesting stuff. So the next thing I was able to do was generate a Thābit number function into a graphing calculator. And what this ended up looking like was this right here. It looked like this. I'm also gonna proceed to show you guys another Thābit number function in a graphing calculator. But yeah, for the most part, I was able to outsource and show you guys what a Thābit number looks like, and not only in computer programming language, but also within the constraints of a graph and a quadratic equation. Well, not quadratic equation, but it's a functional equation in general. Finally, I asked, can Thābit numbers be used in real-world applications? Like, what is the practical usage of Thābit numbers? It said yes, Thābit numbers have several practical applications, particularly in cryptography and computer science. So, in computer science applications, you can use it for password security, data integrity verification, and digital signatures. In educational applications, you can use it to teach number theory, algorithm design, and then in cryptographic applications, you can use it for secure communication and, like I said, to generate prime numbers. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have with you guys in response to the Thābit numbers, in response to what Perplexity said. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking the codes that the artificial intelligence gave us, and we're going to be plugging it in to some computer languages and seeing if it generates it. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so basically what I want to show you guys to conclude the Thābit numbers section of this documentary is to show you guys basically the codes that are in C++, Python, and Java that I was able to outsource using artificial intelligence to help me run the Thābit numbers through a computer code procedure. And so the purpose of me showing this to you guys is to let you guys know the endless possibilities that can be used with Thābit numbers, and hopefully this can give you guys a framework and a good skeleton that you guys can build upon and create and flesh out on your own time and within your own rights. So first of all, we have C++. So right here is the code. Include IOStream, include math, using namespace. This is basically the entire C++ code. Let's see if it works, guys. Sorry, what would you guys know? It actually produces the first 10 Thābit numbers of the spectrum using this code. 2, 5, 11, 23, 47, 95, 191, 383, 767, and 1535, or 1535. Next, we'll try Python. So the Python code is a little bit more clean. It's a little bit more short. And this one I can actually read out to you guys. So we're going to generate, so the procedure is obviously to generate Thābit numbers, right? But what constitutes Thābit numbers is right here, equals 3 times 2 to the power of I subtracted by 1. So let's see if the Python code that we were able to get through AI was able to generate us the first 10 Thābit numbers. So the Thābit number should look like this. So in theory, it should look like that too. And where'd you guys have it? Look, it has the exact same sequence of numbers that it has in the previous code. Finally, guys, we'll be doing Java. So not JavaScript, but Java. I was able to outsource using other AI codes and AI programs, some Java programs that it can do, but not JavaScript. JavaScript is a little bit clunky at the moment when it comes to AI, but Java, it can do very, very well. So basically, it was importing. First, I had to import the properties. Then I had to obviously make a public class and then a public static, and then I obviously had to display the Thābit numbers. And the cool thing about it is that at least with the difference between the Python code and the C++ code is that the C++ code actually shows the procedure that says first 10 Thābit numbers. So we actually know what it is. So let's see if it does that on Java. And there you guys have it. First 10 Thabit numbers. And here's the thing. Notice how each and every single one looks distinct within its own respective right. You see, the C++ code has the procedure title, which is first 10 Thabit numbers. However, it doesn't have the commas to distinguish the numbers. However, the Python code has the commas to distinguish the numbers. However, it doesn't have the procedure title. Meanwhile, Java gives us the best of both worlds. It gives us the procedure title, and most importantly, it gives us the spectrum of numbers, and it gives us commas to distinguish them. So ultimately, like, the best form of programming I would say that can help use Thabit numbers is definitely definitely Java, more than Python and C++. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Moving on to the next part. Alright guys, so moving on to the second and meat and potatoes part of the documentary. We're going to be breaking down and giving a modern take on Thābit Ibn Qurra's magnum opus, the Imaginibus, or the Astro High Magic Grimoire. So if you guys would like links to read the Imaginibus for yourself, and most importantly, if you guys would like links to my commentary that I wrote that I'm going to be covering in this video, I'm going to be covering a good majority of the commentary in this video, then be sure to check the links in the description below. Be sure to check the what's it called? Be sure to check the just search up the Imaginibus PDF, and you should be able to find on the Internet Archive. But if you guys would like a personal PDF copy, comment down your Discord username or your email, and I will email you a link to not only the what's it called, to the Imaginibus PDF, but also a PDF of the commentary that I created on my own. So what is within this commentary of Imaginibus that I'm going to cover in this documentary? Well, firstly, it talks. I basically covered how the talismans, images, and ideas of the Imaginibus are not exactly what we think it is. It is actually more of a talisman based off of spiritual pathworking and restoration rather than destruction and material gain. For example, the talisman for destroying cities. Like, a lot of people think, oh, this is Thābit Ibn Qurra teaching people how to be destructive. However, if you look deeply within what the commentary says, I say this is not a talisman teaching you how to destroy cities. It's actually a talisman teaching you how to restore the lost cities destroyed in the Quran based off of the ascendant sign of their lesson. So if you look within the second chapter of the Imaginibus, it talks about how you should make an image under the ascendant of that city. That, on a surface level, does not make any sense whatsoever. As we know, cities and geographical locations typically don't have astrological signs associated with them. However, do you know what does have astrological signs associated with them, and that are cities? The nations that are destroyed in the Quran. So what I'm trying to get at is that essentially all the different cities that are in the Quran have their own corresponding sign that basically pertains and shows what the lesson and what the identity of said city is. So for example, Babylon, the nation of Noah, that's Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. Then the nation of Lot, which is Sodom and Gomorrah, that's ruled by Scorpio, which is furthermore dictated by Mars. Then the nation of Ad, which is the nation of Prophet Hud alayhi salam, that city sign was associated with Virgo, which is run by Mercury. And then the nation of Thamud, which is also Virgo, was the city that was associated with the Prophet Salih. Then the Madian in Egypt are basically Taurus, which is run by Venus, because Taurus is typically associated with wealth and material gain, and Madian the Midian was typically associated with wealth and material gain. And then the nation of Egypt is associated with Aries, and typically, like, the reason why Egypt is associated with Aries in the scriptures is because Moses is an archetype for Libra, right? Moses is an archetype for the essentially like a law giving and balance, right? So Moses being the Libra archetype, his opposite sign is Aries, right? And we know that the opposing force that opposed Moses was Egypt, right? So that basically secretes how Egypt's ascendant sign was Mars, or Aries. So to run it through again. So Thābit Ibn Qurra tells us to make an image under the ascendant of that city, and make unfortunate the lord of the house of its life, that is of its ascendant, and make the lord of the house of its death unfortunate. So basically, what it's trying to tell us to do is it's trying to tell us to take these ascendant signs of these cities and create talismans out of it. So how can we do that? Well, the way we do that is by outsourcing the magic squares that are associated with different planets. So this is the Mercury, the Venus, the Moon, Jupiter, Sun, Mars, Ketu, Saturn, Rahu, and basically using the numerical correspondences and associations with these talismans above, we can create something that looks like this. So this is a Sodom and Gomorrah talisman using this particular yantra, the Mars yantra. And the reason why we use a Mars yantra for Sodom and Gomorrah is because Sodom and Gomorrah, like we know, has an ascendant sign of Scorpio and is ruled by Mars, right? So this is what basically what the Sodom and Gomorrah talisman looks like. It looks like a collection of different numbers that border the Mars talisman. So you're probably wondering, like, what is the significance of the specific talisman? Well, and most importantly, where am I getting these numbers from in the first place? Well, the place I'm getting the numbers from in the first place is the 644 is actually the word Sodom in what's it called, in reduction gematria. So the 6 is the Samek, the 4 is the Dalit, and then the 4 is the Meme. So SMD or SDM. Yeah, sorry, I meant Samek, Dalit, and Meme, not Samek, Meme, and Dalit. So SDM. You see, it's on the other side too. SDM. So now I'm gonna break down to you guys, where did I get the 36 and 9 from? Well, that actually comes from the Arabic name Lot. So this is Lam, Wow, Tha, Lut, LWT, LWT, LWT. And then obviously I'm gonna keep it a mystery, but we obviously know where the 786 comes from, right? And if you look ultimately on the bordering numbers, the actual sequential number of 9 is adjacent or across. It's not adjacent, sorry. It's across from where it should be, right? So to make 786 a sequential number of 789, we have to switch away the positions of 9 and 6, right? And that is very telling of the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, because if you know anything about Sodom and Gomorrah in the Quran, it talks about how the cities were flipped upside down and then dug into the Dead Sea. So yeah, that's pretty much my Sodom and Gomorrah talisman. Moving on to the next talisman I made in response to the destroying city talisman. So we know that the nation of Noah was Babylon, right? And Babylon had an ascendant sign of Pisces, because Noah is a Piscean archetype, essentially. And so Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. So we're going to use the Jupiter magic square, which is right here, 10, 5, 12, 11, 9, 7, 6, 1, 3, 8. And what we're essentially going to be doing is we're going to be making a talisman out of the out of the Jupiter talisman and adding some numbers that border it along the way. So you're probably wondering, where does the 32-2 come into play, and where does the 865 come into play? Well, actually, it comes from two places. The 32-2 comes from the name Babylon. Uh, Bet Lam, BBL. That's funny, BBL. But yeah, the letters B, and L make the word Babylon essentially, in Hebrew gematria. Then we have 8, 6, and 5. What is 8, 6, and 5, and how did we outsource it to create the Babylon talisman? Well, it actually is an indication or a creation of the Quranic name Noah. You see, Noah is Noon, which is valued at 50, but we reduced it to 5 for the sake of a convenience, or the sake of a better breakdown. We reduced the 50 to 5, so Noon, Wow, Ha, NWH, Nu, NWH. So N, or the Noon, is valued at 50, which we reduced to 5. The Wow is valued at 6, which we didn't have to reduce at all. And the Ha is valued at 8, which we didn't have to reduce at all, because the 6 and 5 are single digit numbers anyways. So yeah. Then moving on to the Ad talisman. So Ad, like we said, was the Ad was said to be a ascendant sign of Virgo, but in some Hermetic traditions, they also said that Ad had an ascendant sign of Aquarius too. So this specific talisman can actually be worked upon and rectified into something better if people pay attention, if people read in between the lines. So yeah, the nation of Ad's ascendant sign was basically Virgo, but it can also be, like I said, Aquarius, depending on how you look at it. So, but today I just had to opt out and use the Mercury yantra, because at the moment I was leaning on towards it being Virgo rather than Aquarius, which is fine. That because mathematics and occultism is an immaculate language, correct? So you can theoretically create anything you want out of it, depending on the criteria. If it has a sound criteria, and if it has like a consistency to it. So basically, like where did I get the 417 from, and where did I get the 864 from? Well, that's pretty easy. I got the 417 from a geometrical dissection of the name Ad, and then basically I got 864 out of the name of the prophet that was sent to Ad, named Hud. So Ha, Wow, Dal. Ha is valued at 8, Wow is valued at 6, and Dal is valued at 4. So HWD, Hud, right? And this is how it relates within the constraints of the talisman. Now moving on to the retrieving stolen wealth talisman. Again, this is not in the slightest what you think it is. So basically, the information I decoded from this specific instruction is that it is a talisman teaching you how to usurp the riches of the land of Midian. Midian is the lost city in the scriptures that the Hermetics explain as the descendant of Taurus due to their vast riches. Taurus is the second house, and a talisman requires you to use the second house in the ritual. There is a 4x4 Jupiter magic square that lines up with the 4 Arabic and Hebrew letters of Midian, as well as the 4 Arabic letters of the name of the prophet sent to Midian, Shuaib. As for the kings that this wealth belongs to, the Old Testament speaks of 2 princes of Midian named Zalmunna and Zabah. The synchronicity with this means is insane, as their battle is mentioned in Judges 8, and their demise is invoked in Psalms 82:11, with the 11th astrological house being the house of good fortune. Also, one thing worth noting is both Zalmunna and Zabah's names are one off from fitting into the square. Zalmunna has 5 Hebrew letters, one off from 4 in a positive way, and Zabah's name is 3 Hebrew letters, one off from 4 in a negative way. So this could possibly be a reference to the north and south node, but I had an idea which number I should take away and add on to it. Okay, so on paper, the reduction of Zalmuna is 9, 3, 4, 5, 7. And the reduction of Zaba is 7, 2, 8. We can figure out which number to get rid of in Zalmuna and which numbers to add on to Zaba by finding the median of all numbers. So the median of these strings of numbers equals to 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 7, 8, 9. So typically in mathematics, if you want to find one median, you would add the two middle integers and divide it by 2. However, we're not doing that here, and we're going to take away the 7 from Zalmuna and the 5 to Zeba. The question is, where do we add the 5? Do we add it to 5, 7, 6, 8, 5, 7, 2, 8, or 7, 5, 2, 8, or 7, 2, 5, 8, or 7, 2, 8, 5? My guess is either 7, 5, 2, 8, or 7, 2, 5, 8, 7, 5, 2, 8, or 7, 2, 5, 8, as the talisman tells us to take it from the king of the 10th house from the 7th. 5 times 2 is 10, and 8 subtracted by 7 is 1, which if you didn't know, the first house is your ascendant. I'm choosing 7258 not only because the number 72 holds a lot of weight in religious numerology, if you know you know, but also the numbers 40, 5 times 8 holds a lot of occult meaning as well. So with that being said, and with all that information deduced, here is the talisman that Thābit Ibn Qurra told us to retrieve stolen wealth. This is what it looks like. And yeah, this is pretty much what it looks like. I hope you guys enjoy. But finally, to conclude this documentary, I will show you guys one more talisman out of the other talismans that I created. And this talisman was an image for inclining the king to certain people or councils so that he will be inclined towards them and delight in them. That is, he will raise them up to high positions before him. So what I think of as talisman is that it's meant to restore 4 great kings from the scriptures: Dhul-Qarnayn, Solomon, Nebuchadnezzar, and Nimrod. So why do I think this? Well, it says that it's inclining the king to certain people for councils, right? So it says, when you wish to do this, you should first take the ascendant thereof most precisely with a true intention, right? The thing is that most people don't have the ascendant signs of kings. However, we do have the ascendant sign of 4 kings that are in scripture. So according to Hermetic traditions, right, basically Dhul-Qarnayn has an ascendant sign of Taurus, Solomon has an ascendant sign of Leo, Nebuchadnezzar has an ascendant sign of Gemini, and Nimrod has an ascendant sign of Virgo. So Dhul-Qarnayn and Solomon's talismans are fused together, and I make a standalone talisman for Nimrod. The only person I wasn't able to make a talisman for, but I was able to possibly find their ascendant of, was Nebuchadnezzar. I'm praying that one person is able to understand the ideas of its exegesis and is able to complete my work in making the Nebuchadnezzar talisman. So you're probably wondering, how was I able to do this? Well, like I said, many Hermetic sources claim that King Solomon's ascendant sign is Leo and that Dhul-Qarnayn's ascendant sign is Taurus. This actually places the 2 in the top and bottom parts of the moon magic square, with Solomon being placed at the top of the moon magic square and Dhul-Qarnayn being placed at the bottom of the moon magic square. How is this the case, you're probably wondering? This is because the north node's ruling side is Aquarius, the opposite of Leo, and the south node's ruling side is Scorpio, the opposite side of Taurus. Also, due to the moon in Kabbalistic numerology being associated with 9, and Dhul-Qarnayn has 9 Arabic letters and Suleiman has 6, to make 9 out of Solomon, we add the 3 letters of his father's name, David. So that's how you make the talisman for the first 2 kings. The second talisman is Nimrod. Nimrod, I'm guessing, his ascendant sign is Virgo. Reason why I said Nimrod's ascendant sign is Virgo is because Nimrod is associated with Osiris, and Osiris' ancient planet was Mercury. Mercury is the planet of Virgo and Gemini. But the reason why I think Nimrod is Virgo and not Gemini is because Osiris is typically associated with the harvest and fertility, both aspects of Virgo. In Vedic numerology, 5 is associated with Mercury. So we'll be using a 5x5 magic square to coincide with the 5 Hebrew letters of Nimrod's name. So this is the talisman I ended up making. So in response to inclining the king to certain people or councils, I was able to incline King Nimrod onto this type of talisman right here, my 5x5 talisman. Then, like I said previously, I was able to fuse King Solomon and Dhul-Qarnayn's thing into one talisman right here. And this is the ninth. This is a 9x9 square. It's the moon magic square, right? And like I said, well, I actually have the numbers reversed here, but King Solomon is Leo at the bottom, and the north node is Aquarius, which is opposite to Leo, and then Dhul-Qarnayn is Taurus, which at the bottom, at the south node, its ascending sign, its ruling sign is Scorpio. So Scorpio's ruling sign, Scorpio's opposite sign is Taurus, essentially. So, you're probably wondering, like, how was I able to do this? Well, if let's observe closely. Observe. It says this: when you wish to do this, you should first take the ascendant thereof of most precisely, with a true intention. Then observe whether there is a conjunction or reception between the Lord of the Ascendant and the Lord of the 10th. So the Lord of the 10th is obviously Capricorn, right? So if you find the Lord of the Ascendant joined to the Lord of the 10th by a trine or sextile aspect, or if there should be a perfect reception between them and both are well dignified and free from affliction, the thing will be accomplished and the image will be true, and the results will appear and the work will be great. If you do not find any of the things I have described for you, but you find the Ascendant and the Lord of the 10th and its Lord free from affliction, the thing that can be accomplished and the image will be true. If you find none of the things I have described, but you find the Ascendant and the 10th house free from affliction, the thing can be accomplished and the effects will appear and the work will be great. So you're probably wondering, how is, basically you're probably wondering, how is the Nimrod talisman and the Dhul-Qarnayn and Solomon talisman in relation to the 10th house? Well, it's really simple. Basically, it actually says right here that joined by if there's a conjunction or reception between the Lord of Ascendant and the Lord of the 10th house. So pay attention to this part right here. So it's right here by the footnote. So this 47 here is actually a footnote, but that I copied and pasted by accident. But it says this: then observe whether there is a conjunction or reception between the Lord of the Ascendant and the Lord of the 10th. So there is actually a conjunction between the Lord of the Ascendant and the Lord of the 10th, and I'll explain what it is. So basically, in the 9x9 magic square, right, we call this the moon magic square, right? And the moon's ruling sign is Cancer. So this is a conjunction between the 10th house, and I'll explain how. The 10th house is ruled by Capricorn, right? And Cancer is the opposite sign to Capricorn. So it's a conjunction in relation to Capricorn. So yeah, that's how basically Dhul-Qarnayn and Solomon's talismans were in conjunction to the 10th house. Now moving on to the Nimrod talisman. How is the Nimrod talisman in conjunction or conjoined with the 10th house? Well, that's very simple. Virgo, I believe, is the 6th sign, right? And so Virgo is a earth sign. It's a sign associated with the earth. And the way this conjoins or this conjuncts with the 10th house is that the 10th house's lord is Capricorn. And Capricorn is an earth sign just like Virgo. And so yeah, with all of this in mind, the talismans that I make are completely lined up with what Thābit Ibn Qurra prescribed for us to do in terms of it. So you have to understand this, guys. The talismans that Thābit Ibn Qurra is teaching us to do is of so many different spectrums, so many different meanings, and so many different articulations. This is just one specific articulation of it that I articulated through magic squares. You can articulate this through many different means too, and I'll explain how. In one of the talismans that is expounded upon in chapter 1, they actually create a natal chart, like an actual coherent natal chart out of the out of the talisman that it taught him to do. Not only that, but the wealth talisman. Remember from chapter 3, the let's see, the retrieving stolen wealth talisman, correct? So the retrieving stolen wealth talisman, what that pertains to in terms of when it pertains to the natal charts, is it actually looks like this, right? So there are many different ways and many different facets and many different ideas that you could use in relation to what Thābit Ibn Qurra taught in terms of his stuff. What I was able to outsource for you guys was just a modern and magic square take and outlook on how to use Thābit Ibn Qurra's workings. So, with that being said, this has been the Thābit Ibn Qurra documentary. And this was all, a lot of these takes were obviously, a lot of these videos and a lot of these like clips that you see that were all meshed together, they were honestly, this specific part that you're viewing right now is viewed and is created in one take, right? So a lot of these situations and a lot of these clips that you're seeing in this documentary were, although they took multiple takes to create, the final product was recorded in one recording, one shot, one go. So if you guys would like to see more information and more ideas based off of what I'm explaining and what I'm trying to show, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Check the links in the description below, because if you do that, guys, you'll be able to basically see what I'm saying and understand a little bit more of what I'm trying to portray. I know this video is kind of all over the place, and it does require a lot of prior knowledge to covering and to understanding, but I really wanted this documentary out, and I really wanted this documentary to be incentivized and given to the public, because I do think that Thābit Ibn Qurra's stuff is very abundantly knowledgeable and it's beneficial to us today, even if people don't necessarily understand the meanings of ascendant signs and stuff like that. I think it's just worth noting in the end. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been the Thābit Ibn Qurra documentary, and I'm so proud to announce that this is my first ever documentary on the channel. I hope to make more in the future if this video gets good reception. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Peace out, guys.